workshop and panel discussion on the transformative role of digital technologies in forecasting, monitoring and managing drought and its cascading effects. I am delighted to have you here on for what promises to be a very insightful and engaging discussion. Drought is one of the most complex and impactful natural hazards affecting ecosystems, agriculture, water resources, and of course, human livelihoods. The challenge goes beyond just predicting when and where droughts will take place, where they might occur, but it is even much more about understanding and managing their risks, which is actually the big question. How can we mitigate cascading effects like wildfires or food insecurity and ultimately building resilience? Digital technologies, just like artificial intelligence and digital twins, are emerging as game changers in this field. These tools offer new ways to process vast amounts of data, simulate scenarios, and provide actionable insights to support early warning systems, decision making, and resource management. However, as we explore the opportunities these technologies provide, we must also address the challenges and issues like data governance or the need for global standards and ethical concerns and equitable access to these tools remain still critical. These are not just technical questions, but ones that touch on policy, on governance, and societal priorities. Oops. Um, Something happened? Okay, great. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Good. So this session brings together leading experts to discuss how digital technologies can support drought management in the framework of recently launched international initiatives. We aim to explore the potential of artificial intelligence and digital twins for disaster risk reduction, understand the role of governance and standards in guiding their use, discuss real-world challenges and opportunities for translating innovation into action. Our panelists bring a wealth of knowledge and diverse perspectives, and together we'll dive into the critical questions that define the future of drought management. So our session will run as follows. We will have 5-minute presentations from each one of our speakers who are going to present their insights, and we will have then specific and general questions, while we would like very much to have also questions coming from the audience. So let me briefly introduce our esteemed panelists. We have Dr. Huirin Kim, who's head hydrological and water resources services division at the World Meteorological Organization. We have Ms. Maidali Menon, who's a project officer at the International Telecommunication Union and coordinator to the global initiative resolutions, about which we are going to hear more later today. We have Laura Rossi, who is a program director at the CIMA Research Foundation, and we have also with us Matteo Zampieri, who is research management at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. Unfortunately, our colleague Andrea Toretti had a high-level meeting, so this is why the last minute actually changed. This is why he's not together with us today. So with that, let us please begin, and let us start with Matteo. Matteo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elena.
Wherever you
Yeah, thank you, Elena. So, my name is Matteo Zampieri. I also would like to acknowledge my colleague, Sakib, who is developing the drought monitoring system that I will show you, and Ibrahim, which is the coordinator of the Climate Change Center. So, the Climate Change Center is a new partnership between the National Center of Meteorology of Saudi Arabia and the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. It was born 2 years ago. And in this center, we develop several climate services. So, first of all, new understanding of climate variability in the Arabian Peninsula, but also subseasonal and seasonal forecast, climate projection, drought monitoring, support to the Saudi Green Initiative. And the idea is that when all these services are becoming fully functional, let's say, and operational, they will be passed to the National Center of Meteorology, while the development is in the university that you see here also in the pictures. So this is the new results that we just have at the global scale. This is the area affected by compound drought and heat events. So this serves as a motivation for why we need to monitor and try to forecast drought. Not that we really need new motivation because we already know, but unfortunately we always find new evidences for that. This is comparing observation and models. On a more positive side, we can say that we found that model forecasts are able to capture some of this variability. So this is positive because they can use for adaptation to climate change and especially to drought. So this is just a figure of the drought monitoring system we are developing at the Climate Change Center. This is almost operational. We monitor different variables, precipitation anomaly, an index combining precipitation and temperature anomalies, soil moisture anomalies, and vegetation indexes. Uh, we can say that at this point we are at the standard level. Also, other international centers they do something similar, but we are not satisfied. We ask ourselves what we can do more, and this is what we think. So, if we think about how drought is working, we have climate drivers, we have the stress, and then we have the impacts. Uh, from the indicator that we can observe, the variable that we can observe and predict, we can realize that we only look at the drivers and the impacts. We don't know if the land is in a condition of stress or not in a particular moment in time. In fact, the meteorological drought is often measured by the precipitation anomalies with a popular index called SPI, but we don't know which is the threshold and the time scale of the SPI actually producing stress. We would like to measure soil moisture, but soil moisture observation are limited. Also from satellite, they give partial information. We can estimate the soil water balance, improving the SPI, but again, we need to know the thresholds. Also, soil moisture is not the whole part of the story because the atmospheric demand of humidity is also important for stress. And the impact to vegetation, we can see it from satellite, but when we see it, it's already too late. So the message I would like to give is that we can observe, monitor, and forecast the drivers of drought. We can see the impacts, but when we see the impacts, it's too late for early warning system. So what we really need to do is to try to improve the monitoring of the drought stress itself. And regarding vegetation, we know that when vegetation is in stress, it suppresses evapotranspiration. So we are looking towards finding new indicators able to determine if the vegetation is under stress or not. We have a couple of ideas that we are developing. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for the attention.
Thank you very much, Matteo. Now I would like to ask Lauro.
So good morning, everybody. My name is Laura, I'm one of the Coaching Research Foundation, Italy. And today I will talk about European drought risk atlas. Um, yeah, let's start with the publish. Right? So this effort took me, let's say, 2 years to implement, but I was not alone. It was a beautiful partnership with Teaching Research Foundation for me. It was University of Amsterdam is doing environmental study, the United Nations, and also, of course, with the cooperation with the Joint Research Center. Um, and the goal here is to provide a comprehensive analysis of projects in different systems under current projected climate conditions. So to do that, we use two comparison methods. One is qualitative and one is quantitative. The first one is about conceptual model based on literature review that validated through expert knowledge. We designed this impact chain where we map every single contribution, every single driver that can improve, let's say, the increase drought rates. The second method, and it's the one that I've talked today more, is about machine learning. So AI, what is, let's say, powerful to let's say, bridge the gap between the answer and the impact. What we did, in fact, is, let's say, train this machine learning model to find a link between the answer and the impact. We use let's say, a very simple machine learning method. First, decision tree, which is not necessarily non-linear, but multiple binary classes of impact. So the idea is really way beyond the answer, as Matthew was saying, when you have detected meteorological drought, it's not enough for story, right? Because the impact is different, totally different story. So we have implemented these in the current climate. This is now put on our model for one sector. This is agriculture. And here you can see the metric is the average annual production cost in percentage. And on the left, we have the result of the model, and the observation on the right, and you see that the pattern is completely kept. But of course, here in observability, we have also impact that are not related to drought. Um, so once you have trained your model, you project this into the future to see what is expected, not in terms of indices, but in terms of real impact in different sectors, right? So we analyze three warming levels, QRCP, 11 climate models, we came up with 66 projected scenarios to describe, let's say, our future. And this is an example of our results. So under climate change, we take this warming level plus 3 degrees compared with industrial level. And you see that in general, in all Europe, you can see a worsening condition. The reddish colors means that the situation is worsening, and the color bars are important losses. So when we read 3, it means that it's 3 times the current losses. Okay? So we have for agriculture worsening condition in all Europe. This is nuclear power, and you see here that there is a very, very concerning situation in the future for France. And France is one of the countries that has, let's say, using nuclear power energy. The most in Europe. So here we have again water supply. For water supply, we have again worsening condition in all Europe, especially European countries. And here again, in the European countries, um, for the historical system, we have a clear so my take-home message, we need really this shift from asset to impact assessment across sectors and systems. We use two different complementary approach. One is qualitative, the other is very quantitative. And machine learning is really a powerful tool when we're talking about digital economy to quantify impacts. What are the next steps? Well, take these models in real time, which is a real challenge, and also make these cross-sectoral drought risk assessment really interconnected beyond sector science. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lauro, and thank you very much also, Matteo. These is exactly the questions that we are actually asking at this moment. We cannot remain just with the drought as a meteorological hazard, as an event. We have to go beyond. And the impact is actually the big question. And this is where we are considering that where digital technologies can really add to assess the impact, because this is what we need. We need impact forecasting. We don't need just another meteorological hazard forecasting only. And then there are coming many questions. How is it happening? How can this evolve in areas where we don't have even measurements happening? Then the questions are then how can we leverage actually these technologies to improve what is not there, to add to those areas and support with their for their expectations. Okay, so then I would like now to go to Wirin. Please, Wirin, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Elena. I may be a little bit shout. Seems like there are a lot of parallel side event is happening. So you guys could not hear very well what Matteo or Laura mentioned. Hopefully you heard it. And I'd like to ask camera colleagues to focus not only presentation but also speakers at the same time. So in the live stream, people can see who is talking, and also see the presentation. As I have only 5 minutes, I will not go through all the presentation because my colleague Nakul has been prepared many slides, but I do not have enough time to explain all of them. So I will skip it because already Matteo mentioned about SPI, and we know what drought is issue. Let's go and just highlight a couple of items today, and then we can continue to discuss with the question and answer, which you may get more information. I'm from WMO, Hyrin Kim, Chief of Hydrology, and I'm here like to advertise you. There is a handbook from UN organization. WMO is UN specialized agency for weather, climate, and also meteorology, and also hydrology, water. So we are supporting a lot for flood and drought. And one of the handbook we just published, drought indicator indices, which you can use it in your operational hydrology. And I think I skipped one important program which called IDMP, Integrate Drought Management Program. One more. Okay, here. It's more than 10 years we have been working with the WMO and Global Water Partnership. More than 47 partners we have with them, and we developed, as you saw, the handbook, but we also have been working with the help desk. So if you go to our website, droughtmanagement.info, which I asked to put the link here. Unfortunately, I cannot find it now. But wherever you Google it, IDMP, you can find our website with a lot of publication, methodology, and approaches, and also including help desk. In the help desk, you can find and you can ask any question. So we received questions from government, NGOs, academia, students, any individual. They ask us, like, what is the drought policy now? I'm working on my research. Where can I find the drought data? We are all supporting your question and trying to support you. And here we also supporting with the capacity building, capacity development, especially focus on National Hydrological and Meteorological Agency, who doing forecasting drought. As you may know, the mitigation to reduce drought damage is always important to have monitoring, prediction, and be prepared, proactively prepared, and they try to minimize the damage. So that is one of the key components. We also engage youth and also trying to support community of practice. Even though government or national organization agency provide a lot of information, but sometimes it didn't go to the public. People do not know what to do before the drought, during the drought, or after the drought. And the stakeholder needs detailed information as well. So community-based approach we are supporting together. And here I'd like to present to you one of the example, one of the best example what we have been done in the Volta Basin, West Africa, including Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Mali, and Togo. We developed both flood and drought management system funded by Adaptation Fund, and it has been very successful system. As you could see, my data, one of the applications we use it. And this is a transboundary river basin. As you may know, in the transboundary river basin, it's very critical to share the data and monitoring and also forecasting. So from our project that we have been supported, and they have been working on it, now they have flood hazard map, drought hazard map, and they can also announce the result of forecasting to the public. So we are supporting the 6 countries. They can share and exchange data, and also they can predict both flood and drought and provide information earlier within the real-time system. And this is including also many new technology, including satellite. And I believe this can be improved later with many other digital transformation technology, including AI, digital twins. And also we can use many other new technology. And one of our key initiative, which is called Hydro SOS, Hydro Status and Outlook System. As I show you the previous Volta Basin project, that's focused on the region, especially for the transboundary river basin. But Hydro SOS is much bigger than that. There's global scale, regional scale, basin scale, and also national scale what we have been done. Hydro SOS does not create something new. We are using the existing tools, existing methodology, and to support all of our country. WMO has 193 member services, member states we are served. So we're supporting them with the Hydro SOS, especially including capacity building, and also trying to support them how much water they have now. What about a month later? What about 3 months later? What about 6 months later? They should know how much water will be available in the future. So hydrolysis is focused on the sub-seasonal, seasonal hydrological prediction. As you may know, the prediction is so important to have the good data, good quality of data, but also new technology we should adopt it to try to support our members, not only least developing country, but also developed country both ways. The last slide, but not least, WMO has been established working group digital transformation to emerge technology and see how the technology can applicable to the members, which I mentioned 193 members. I believe all of you are part of our members. So this working group has been launching this year during the first UN Virtual Day. And it is consists with ITU, UNCCD, UNDP, and we're also inviting other national and also private sectors as well to find out what kind of new technology, emerging technology we can use in hydrology and water resources management. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Hopefully it is clear.
Thank you very much, Wirin. And now I would like to go to ask Maitali to tell us about the role of AI standards in transforming disaster preparedness. Please, Maitali.
So thank you so much, Elena. So you've had a brief overview of the different types of technologies that can be used for drought, against drought, or even to prevent desertification. But we need to look more at the guidelines that can help facilitate this, because emerging technologies, we're learning more and more about them every day. So to indiscriminately implement them is also a danger. So just to briefly take you through the work that we've been doing in this domain. So a brief overview of the ITU. So we're the International Telecommunication Union, which is the ITU. We are a UN agency. We're also a standards developing organization. And what makes us unique in the UN system is that in addition to our 194 member states, so we have a new addition, we also have over 800 private sector members and 150 academia members. And they all work together at the table to develop guidelines and frameworks, which we refer to as international standards, to help facilitate the adoption of AI, IoT, different types of emerging technologies for disaster management. This helps us promote interoperability, accessibility, and also helps prevent a vendor lock-in situation. One common standard that you might know from the ITU is relating to the CAP, or Common Alerting Protocol. So this is one standard that I'm sure everyone working in the disaster management domain is familiar with. So this is just a snapshot of our existing ITU standards. As you can see, we have use cases on using unmanned aerial vehicles. We have digital technologies relating to the use of climate change adaptation. We also have recently, which was led by the government of Korea, we have the KPIs for ICT-based urban flood disaster prevention. We have a recent standard on smart evacuation during emergencies in smart cities. And last but not the least, relating to health emergencies, we have the smart service standard. So when we embarked on this journey to find out what standards are needed relating to the AI, application of AI for disaster management, there was a gap analysis that was done. And this highlighted which standards existed in which disaster management phase. And there was also an overview of which types of technologies are referred to in these standards or are adopted through these standards. Realizing these gaps, ITU, WMO, and UN Environment, they came together in December 2020, and we established the focus group on AI for natural disaster management. This focus group, it ran for around 3.5 years. It completed its work in March 2024 at a meeting hosted at NASA in the United States. It developed 3 technical reports, which elaborated on a variety of best practices after analyzing over 27 use cases related to different disaster types, different technologies, AI, digital twin, IoT. We also developed a glossary, which has over 500 terms and definitions, given the interdisciplinary nature of this topic. The main aim and the main guidelines or best practices which are encapsulated in the standards related to how AI can detect disaster events in real time, how AI can facilitate facilitate the forecasting of disaster events, and last but not the least, how AI can help improve communication during the advent of a disaster. Once the focus group had closed in March 2024, there was considerable interest in continuing this work. So as a follow-up of that, all the partner agencies, and we have 2 new additions to this group, UNCCD, UNFCCC, my apologies, and UPU, they followed it up with the global initiative on resilience to natural hazards through AI solutions. And this will help ensure that we're able to continue standardization, we're able to continue research and drive innovation, not just relating to AI, but also to other complementary technologies. We had the first meeting of this initiative in Barcelona, Spain, hosted by the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. And we also had a recent workshop which was hosted in India together with UNCCD and UNDRR. And hosted by the government of India. And this was a very well attended event, and it sort of had a call to action to follow up on the work that we do relating to standards. And I'm very pleased to also note that the work of the global initiative and the focus group was also recognized in Nature. And we also had a piece in Time which recognized and acknowledged the work and featured the work that both the focus group and the initiative have done. Just to give you an overview of the ecosystem of partners, this is growing every day. These are some of the key partners who have provided use cases, who continue to lead some of our standards work, who continue to provide their expertise, research. So this is an ever expanding group. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I think this is the last slide. So thank you very much, and back to Elena.
Thank you so much, Maitali. So it was really exciting what we heard from you, and I do have a couple of questions actually that I would like to go a little bit deeper to what we have heard today. And I'm sorry I have to go through and read them. And I would like to start actually with Lauro. Lauro, how can digital technologies transform global and regional strategies for drought forecasting and management, particularly in the context of increasing climate variability? When you've started doing that with a European drought risk atlas.
Yeah, thank you for the question. But I like to continue and enforce the message. I think here the big game changer is AI. There is no doubt. So it's, I mean, 2023, companies like Google, OneWay, Nvidia, have released their own climate model. So there is a huge investment of these kind of companies to, let's say, invest and improve the prediction. And they prove that with AI they can outperform the normal, usual physical-based model. So this is one really big game changer. The other use of AI is to bridge the gap between us and India, as we started to do with the very simple way, but effective way with our current model. But AI, as other data-driven method, requires data. So where do we get this data? And here again, this technology can come to rescue. So satellite is a lot of satellite monitoring going on. So with satellite, you can really, really, let's say, increase the help of local monitoring. You can monitor soil moisture, you can monitor stress and vegetation, you can monitor crop failure. And this is complemented now with drones. It's another digital tool. With local monitoring, more and more drones are used to monitor crop production. Then there is the Internet of Things, all the sensors. So all the sensors that are required for precision irrigation, for example, or agriculture. This is a lot of automation of irrigation. So the open new data sets can be possible. Also, unlimited topics. One is unconventional, which is text-based data. There's a lot of information in news and social media that we can use and convert things into. And then that we do is the last one, which is the cloud. Okay, we are platforms that are converting data set into useful information, and these are really now they just want a decision. So this is number one where these are technology are really. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laura. That was really to the point. What I wanted to what I wanted to hear from you actually, and I liked very much the idea of using proxy data actually to complement and support areas where without this type of information. This is really important, and yeah, we have quite a lot to do. But again, the question of impact, and I'm sure that this is actually the most pressing question at the moment. Great, thank you. So I would like to ask then, Huirin, Let us go then to fairness. So, how can we actually make sure that these digital tools do help all regions and that fairly, and especially what we were saying before, those that do not have these technologies and this capacity?
Thank you so much. It's okay. Thank you so much, Elena, for the great questions. As I mentioned earlier, WMO, we have 193 member states. Not everybody has the same situation. Some of them do not have enough human resources, do not have enough funding. And sometimes they fail, they left, and then they are not in the part of new technology, emerging technology, AI, digital twin, virtual world. They feel like it's only for the developed country who has a lot of technology, a lot of human resources, and a lot of funding. But that's why we try to make everybody equally have a good technology for their operational services. WMO supported many other initiatives and programs. One of our pilot study, we are using AI forecasting and pilot 4 countries in one Africa, one Asia, one South America, one Europe, trying to see how it's really beneficial for our members, comparing with existing typical or traditional hydrological forecasting region. And the other ones that what we supporting, because many least developing countries do not have enough station, enough ground station. So we supporting them with the satellite data, remote sensing data, freely available to fill those gaps. And the third one, even though we have global scale data, it's quite huge. The accuracy is not good enough for the very tailored services. So what we're supporting in the several countries through the project from other funder, other donors, that we have been working 3D printed observation tool. So monitoring precipitation, monitoring water level, but they don't need to pay and buy expensive tools, expensive stations. They don't need to develop, they don't need to establish the big station like that. Using the very cheap, reasonable price, like a 3D printing, if something didn't go well, they can also create it and making another one 3D printing. So we supporting them, not only providing 3D printing observation tool, providing with the capacity building, how can they maintain, how can they use, how can they update. So we try to do many ways to support our members. I hope this is clear and everybody to be equally beneficial from the new technology. Over.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much, Wirin. Thank you so much. Then let us go a little bit further up to governance. So, which are actually the key governance frameworks and standards required to ensure that these emerging digital technologies are deployed responsibly and equitably in drought risk mitigation. Please, Maitali, could you?
So as I mentioned, ITU has around, I think we have calculated 35 standards which are relating to disaster management. And now we have veered more towards the context of emerging technologies like AI and IoT. I didn't know how much time I had during the presentation, so I didn't elaborate on this too much. But we have 3 reports from the focus group, one which is focusing on AI for data, which is very important. The second point is on AI for modeling, which is our second report. And the third one is on AI for communications. So these standards, we expect that they will serve as a sort of baseline for any future adoption of AI and also other emerging technologies, because these standards, they don't just focus on AI, even though maybe the title is a bit misleading. They have use cases relating to digital twin, they have use cases relating to UAVs, they have use cases on IoT, so it's a mixed bag. And this has been very well embraced by our 194 member states, I must add. So this is something that we expect will be the future. And as I said, standards are not supposed to be something which is stagnant. So we have to continuously evolve with technology. So we do expect further work to be conducted through the global initiative. And one thing that I couldn't mention was the Medusa project, for which both WMO and also our moderator, they are a part of. So this project, it actually implements the standards that have come out of the focus group. And it's an advantage for the ITU because it helps us get feedback on how implementable the standards are, and it helps us streamline them so that countries are actually able to adopt them and to actually make use of them, so that they're actually implementable, and then there's safe adoption of technology, and it sort of bridges the digital divide, which is ITU's main role, from actual research innovation to actual implementation. So we would say that standards are the fulcrum of governance, especially when it relates to emerging technologies. There is a certain hesitance, so we do expect that our standards will pave the way to kind of gauge where member states' concerns lie, eliminate them, also learn in the process, and be able to actually adopt AI for the betterment of mankind, not just for disaster management, but for other sectors such as health, for digital security, for digital finance. So this is just one piece of the puzzle.
Great, thank you very much, Matali. Indeed, we are. I have to admit that we are fortunate that we have the support by the together with the focus group and now the global initiative. We have the support of the European Union, which is actually helping us to do further research. It's not only Medusa, which is actually also TIMA is a partner in the consortium. It's a large consortium. We're doing early warnings for the whole area based on digital technologies, but also cleaned on climate services, again on artificial intelligence. But then this gives me directly the path to ask Matteo. So how can we? I mean, you were discussing before about monitoring, discussing about forecasting, but then again, the issues that actually just the simple or the common indices are not enough to solve the problems. So how do you think that artificial intelligence could, on the one side, improve monitoring? I mean, we heard also from Lauro and hearing before. But I would like to go to a second part of a question, which are the challenges, which are actually the limitations, for example, of another tool of digital twins to drought forecasting and even more to adaptation scenarios.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, I agree with you. Lauro made an exceptional example of how artificial intelligence can bridge the gap between drought impacts that we can monitor and sometimes forecast pretty well, and the impacts. So yeah, artificial intelligence, in a sense, complete our gap in observation. We also have to develop the understanding of what's going on, because artificial intelligence is not just a tool that you can just plug in and accept the results without thinking, without criticism, and without human control. So that will not solve our problem. So research will be still needed, and so we have to advance in all the possible direction that we can, and then merge and make a synergy between them. Regarding digital twins, these are this is a new concept, but actually is a concept that is there since a long time. It is since centuries that we use models to understand the reality, to make scenario, to make predictions and stuff. So a possible limitation of the digital twins is always the same, that they are not really twins. So in our models, there are approximations that sometimes they don't really meet the reality. And unfortunately, drought is one of these, because the land surface is very complex, is very heterogeneous. Usually in the models that we use, we think that is all homogeneous. We think about models in which everything is homogeneously distributed, but actually it's not, especially in dry region, whether you have lateral groundwater accumulation, vegetation and crops are found in very specific location and not the other. So again, in that sense, it's very promising, but we also need to build up more understanding and to improve the models.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, if I could give an answer, then you are talking about hybrid models, actually, and not only just AI-based models. So, bringing together the technology with the physics, with the dynamics. So, the real the interpretation and remaining on the planet that is called Earth, and not being moved somewhere else. And yeah, I can understand very well what you mean. We have quite a lot of issues even with the soil moisture data. So not only discussing about very different lands, very different soil properties that for which we don't have all these the accuracy that is requested. So it's quite a lot of work ahead. Okay, thank you very much. And I would like to ask a very last question because we don't have time for more. I have many more, and then I would like to go to cascading and interconnected risks. So actually, wildfires, agricultural crises, which are triggered by drought. So what role can these digital tools play in fostering this multi-hazard resilience? So multi-hazard, one more word, buzzword, but something that we see actually happening continuously. Please.
Yeah, I can start and compliment. Yeah, I can just give an example for wildfire. Um, there is this, let's say, awareness about drought condition and wildfires, and when there is really severe drought condition and starting this wildfire season, one of the things that we can do is, for example, deploying sensors to make early detection of wildfires. This is one thing. The other thing is using um, all these artificial intelligence to optimize the reallocation of aerial forces, so water bombers for wildfires. This is another technique that we are experimenting with.
Yeah, I can add. As Elena asked about multi-hazard, so what I just to show you, for example, the Volta Basin project. It's not just focused on flood, also drought at the same time. As you may know, in the country, even though they have a full of the precipitation, it doesn't mean they don't have a drought. The important is how they manage. When the flood comes, sometimes it just go away, washed out, without having enough capacity to contain the water or manage the water resources management. Then the same country, the several months ago, who were faced and challenged with the flood, they can have another challenge because of the drought. So in our technology, as I mentioned earlier, that with as Laura just mentioned, there's AI, there's the digital twins. For example, one of the examples that I see in WMO member states, they're using digital twins to detecting which area will be inundated. So they have the forecasting result in the flood. At the same time, they could see the impact, so which is very useful for the decision maker before they evacuate the people or be prepared for the disaster. So it could happen flood, drought, but also wildfire, many other places. We can use our new technology, including drone, which can do it, monitoring that without humans can go the dangerous places, so they can see where is the critical points to reduce those damages. So I believe we have a lot of things to do with our emerging technology to reduce multi-hazard disaster. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I am unfortunately obliged to go to the very, very end. So I have tried to put together some ideas from what you have presented, actually some take-home messages on discussing about the comprehensive early warning systems, which are actually not anymore or not only on indices, on values, but on impact. So going even beyond of what we have now, and there is where artificial intelligence can enhance our understanding, shifting from hazard to impact, harmonizing monitoring approaches and integrating all available data to enhance early warnings for drought, but even further to consider standards. So actually what we heard that is taking place in focus group and the global initiative for resolutions, which is actually standards do play a very important role in driving the adoption of technology and ensuring an alignment with national and regional relations. So actually enhancing the quality of our lives. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for being with us. And 1 minute announcement from
Yes,
Laura.
okay, just a few seconds. There is today the technical launch of the World Drought Atlas. We will met 7 at 1 p.m. The World Drought Atlas was launched one week ago during the ministerial level and ministerial meeting, and now we have this technical presentation today. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for hosting us.